Cole Drayton pulled his truck into the driveway at exactly 6:47 p.m. The October rain drummed against the windshield as he sat for a moment, watching the warm light spill from their kitchen window. 39 years old, built solid from his army days, and still carrying himself like a soldier, Cole had learned to read situations before walking into them. Tonight felt different that he grabbed his toolbox from the passenger seat and walked to the front door. The house smelled like roast chicken, but the silence felt heavy. "I'm home," he called out, hanging his jacket on the hook by the door. "About time." Bryn's voice carried from the kitchen, sharp with an edge he'd been hearing more often lately. "Dinner's been ready for 20 minutes. Cole found his wife standing at the stove, her blonde hair pulled back tight, shoulders rigid. At 36, Bryn still turned heads, but lately her beauty felt like armor cold and untouchable. "Sorry, had to finish installing the new sensor array at the plant." Cole washed his hands at the kitchen sink. "Where's Lainey?" "Setting the table. Like she's supposed to." Their 8-year-old daughter emerged from the dining room, her dark hair so much like Cole's falling across her face. "Hi, Daddy." Cole knelt down to hug her. Lainey felt small in his arms, smaller than usual. "Hey, kiddo. How was school?" "Fine." She didn't meet his eyes. They sat around the dining room table, the same routine they'd followed for years. But tonight, the spaces between words felt like minefields. "So," Bryn said, cutting her chicken with precise movements, "Mrs. Patterson called today. Lainey got in trouble for not paying attention in math class." Cole looked at his daughter. "That true?" Lainey nodded, still staring at her plate. "She's been distracted lately," Bryn continued. "I think it's because you're never here anymore. Working late every night, weekend projects. She needs her father around. I work to provide for this family. You work to hide from this family." Bryn's fork clicked against her plate. "When's the last time you asked how my day was? When's the last time you actually talked to your daughter instead of just hugging her and walking away?" Cole felt Lainey tense beside him. He kept his voice level. "I'm here now. Physically. But you're not really here, are you? You're still deployed in your head. Still that soldier who can't connect with people. Mom, can we talk about something else?" Lainey's voice was small. Careful, Bryn's eyes snapped to her daughter. "Adults are talking. It's okay," Cole said quietly. "What would you like to talk about, Lainey?" "I don't know. Maybe about the school play? I got picked to be a tree." "A tree?" Cole smiled. "That's great. When's the performance?" "Next Friday night. But Mom said you probably won't be able to come because of work." Cole looked at Bryn. "I didn't say that. You didn't have to. You missed her parent-teacher conference last month. You missed the school picnic. You'll miss this too." "I'll be there," Cole said to Lainey. "I promise." Bryn's laugh was bitter. "Sure you will. Just like you promised to fix the back door. Just like you promised we'd take that vacation to the coast. You're really good at promises, Cole. Not so good at keeping them." Cole set down his fork. Years of defusing bombs had taught him patience, but the constant attacks on his character were wearing thin. "I work hard for this family. Everything I do is for this family." "No, everything you do is to avoid this family. You'd rather spend time with machines than with people who actually care about you." "Bryn, not in front of Lainey. When else are we supposed to talk? You're gone before she wakes up, home after she's in bed. This is the only time we're all together. So, yeah, we're going to talk." Lainey pushed her chair back. "May I be excused?" "You haven't finished your dinner," Bryn said. "I'm not hungry anymore." Cole studied his daughter's face. Something was wrong. Something deeper than just uncomfortable dinner conversation. "Go ahead, kiddo. But brush your teeth before bed." "Thank you." Lainey disappeared upstairs. Bryn waited until they heard the bedroom door close. "Great. Now she thinks it's okay to waste food. She's upset. She's spoiled. And you're the one spoiling her." Cole finished his dinner in silence, each bite mechanical. When he was done, he helped clear the table while Bryn loaded the dishwasher with sharp, angry movements. "I'm going to check on Lainey," he said. "Of course you are." Run away from the conversation, just like always. Cole climbed the stairs and knocked softly on Lainey's door. "Can I come in?" "Yeah." He found her sitting on her bed, still fully dressed, staring out the window. "You okay?" "I guess." Cole sat on the edge of the bed. "Mom and we're just going through a rough patch. It's not your fault. I know." But she said it too quickly, like she'd practiced the words. Cole felt that familiar tingle, the same instinct that had kept him alive overseas when something wasn't right. Lainey, is there anything you want to tell me? Anything at all? For a moment, she looked like she might speak. Then she shook her head. I'm just tired. Okay, get ready for bed. I'll come say good night in a few minutes. Cole went back downstairs. The kitchen was clean, Bryn nowhere to be seen. He found her in their bedroom, already in her pajamas, reading a magazine. She okay? Bryn asked without looking up. She's fine. Kids pick up on tension, you know. Maybe we should try to keep our discussions private. Maybe you should try being a husband and father instead of a stranger who pays the bills. Cole unbuttoned his work shirt. What do you want from me, Bryn? I want you to care. I want you to show up. I want you to be present in your own life. I am present. No, you're not. You're going through the motions. Work, dinner, sleep, repeat. When's the last time we talked about something that mattered? When's the last time you asked about my day, my feelings, my dreams? Cole hung his shirt in the closet. How was your day? Don't. Bryn's voice was sharp. Don't patronize me. I'm not. I'm asking. Too late. It shouldn't take a fight for you to care about my life. Cole changed into his pajamas and went to say goodnight to Lainey. She was under the covers, her face clean and hair brushed. Sleep tight, kiddo. Daddy, yeah. Do you love Mom? The question hit him like a punch. Of course I do. Why would you ask that? You guys fight a lot. All couples fight sometimes. It doesn't mean we don't love each other. Okay, but she didn't sound convinced. Cole kissed her forehead. I love you, Lainey. More than anything in the world. I love you too, Daddy. When he returned to the bedroom, Bryn was already asleep or pretending to be. Cole lay on his side of the bed, staring at the ceiling. The rain had stopped, but the silence felt heavier than the storm. Something was wrong. He could feel it in his bones. 3 nights later, Cole worked late again, troubleshooting a servo motor that kept overheating. By the time he got home, the house was dark except for the porch light. He parked quietly and walked to the front door. Inside, he found a note on the kitchen counter. Took Lainey to her friend Emma's house for a sleepover. Be back tomorrow afternoon. B. Cole crumpled the note. No discussion, no phone call. Just another decision made without him. He grabbed a beer from the fridge and settled into his chair in the living room. The house felt different when they weren't here. Peaceful, but also empty. He wondered when his own home had started feeling like a battlefield. Around midnight, headlights swept across the front window. Cole looked out and saw Bryn's car pulling into the driveway, but she didn't get out right away. She was talking to someone on the phone, gesturing with her free hand. Finally, she ended the call and came inside. You're up late, she said, hanging her purse on the hook. Couldn't sleep. How's Lainey? She's fine. Emma's mom said they're planning to stay up all night watching movies. Bryn kicked off her shoes. I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed. She headed upstairs without another word. The next evening, Cole picked up Lainey from Emma's house. She was quiet during the drive home, staring out the passenger window. Have fun at the sleepover. It was okay. Just okay. I thought you loved spending time with Emma. I do. I'm tired. That night, Cole woke up around 2 a.m. The house was quiet, but something had pulled him from sleep. He lay still, listening. Then he heard voices outside. He slipped out of bed and moved to the window. Bryn stood on the front porch with a man Cole didn't recognize. Tall, athletic build, maybe mid-30s. They were standing close together, too close for casual conversation that Cole's blood turned cold as the man leaned down and kissed his wife. Not a friendly peck, but a real kiss. Bryn's hands were in his hair. The kiss lasted several seconds before they broke apart. The man said something that made Bryn laugh, then walked to a dark sedan parked across the street. Bryn watched him drive away before coming back inside. Cole stayed at the window, his mind racing. How long had this been going on? Who was the man? And more importantly, did Lainey know? He heard the front door close softly, then Bryn's footsteps on the stairs. She slipped back into bed beside him, and Cole forced his breathing to stay steady. The next morning at breakfast, Lainey was even quieter than usual. She picked at her cereal, glancing nervously at her mother. Eat your breakfast, Bryn said. You're going to be late for school. I'm not really hungry. I don't care if you're hungry. Eat. Cole watched the interaction. Bryn's tone was harsher than usual, almost threatening. And Lainey's response was fear, not typical childhood stubbornness. After Bryn left to drive Lainey to school, Cole stood in the kitchen, pieces of a puzzle clicking into place. The late nights, the defensive attitude, the way Lainey had been acting. And now the man on the porch, his phone buzzed. A text from Bryn, working late tonight. Don't wait up. Cole deleted the message without responding. That evening, he picked up Lainey from after-school care. She was sitting alone on a bench, shoulders hunched. Hey, kiddo, ready to go home? She nodded, but didn't smile. During the drive, Cole tried to draw her out. How was school today? Fine. Learn anything interesting? Not really. Want to stop for ice cream? No, thank you. Cole pulled into their driveway and turned off the engine. Lainey, is everything okay? You seem upset about something. She finally looked at him, and Cole saw something in her eyes that made his chest tight. Fear. I'm fine, Daddy. But she wasn't fine. Cole could see it in the way she held herself, the way she avoided eye contact. Something had happened to his daughter, and he was going to find out what. That night, after Lainey went to bed, Cole sat in the living room with all the lights off. At 11:30, he heard a car door close outside. He moved to the window and saw the same sedan from the night before. This time, the man came to the front door. Cole heard the soft knock, then Bryn's footsteps as she let him in. Is she asleep? The man asked. Yes, but keep your voice down. They moved into the kitchen, and Cole crept to the top of the stairs where he could hear better. This is getting complicated, Bryn. I know, but I'm handling it. Are you? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're losing control. I said I'm handling it. What about the kid? She saw us the other night. Cole's blood froze. She won't say anything, Bryn replied. How can you be sure? Because I made it clear what would happen if she did. The man sighed. This isn't what I signed up for. Really? Because you seemed pretty interested when I told you about the life insurance policy. That was before I knew there was a kid involved. Rory, relax. Everything's going according to plan. Rory. Now Cole had a name. What if she tells her father? She won't. I promise you she won't. Cole heard footsteps moving toward the living room and quickly retreated to the bedroom. A few minutes later, he heard the front door close and a car drive away. Bryn came upstairs and slipped into bed. Cole lay perfectly still, his mind working through what he'd heard. Life insurance policy. A plan. And Lainey had seen something she shouldn't have. The next morning, Cole watched his daughter more carefully. She was pale, picked at her breakfast, and flinched when Bryn spoke to her. Lainey, Bryn said, her voice sweet but with an edge underneath. Remember what we talked about. Some things are private family business. Lainey nodded quickly. I remember. Good girl. After they left for school, Cole made 2 phone calls. The first was to his supervisor taking a personal day. The second was to a security company. 3 hours later, Cole had installed 2 high-definition cameras in his house. One in the living room, positioned to capture the front door and most of the common area. The other in the hallway, aimed at the kitchen entrance. Both were wireless, recording to a cloud server he could access from his phone that if something was happening to his daughter, he was going to find out exactly what. That night, Lainey came to him after dinner. Daddy, can I ask you something? Of course. If someone told you a secret, but it was a bad secret, would you want to know? Cole knelt down to her level. Lainey, if someone is hurting you or doing something wrong, that's not a secret you have to keep. You can always tell me anything. She looked toward the kitchen where Bryn was cleaning up, then back at Cole. But what if telling would make things worse? Who told you that? I can't say. Cole felt rage building in his chest, but he kept his voice gentle. Sweetheart, nobody should ever tell you to keep secrets from your parents. If someone is making you feel scared or uncomfortable, you need to tell me. Lainey's eyes filled with tears. I want to, but what? Mom said if I tell, you'll leave us. Like you left the army. Cole's vision went red. He pulled Lainey into a hug, his hands shaking with anger. Listen to me very carefully. I will never, ever leave you. No matter what happens, no matter what anyone tells you, I will always be your father and I will always protect you. Promise? I promise. That night, after Lainey was asleep, Cole confronted Bryn in their bedroom. We need to talk. She looked up from her magazine. About what? About the secrets you're making our daughter keep. Bryn's face went pale, then hardened. I don't know what you're talking about. She asked me about keeping bad secrets. She said you told her I'd leave if she told me something. She's 8 years old, Cole. She has an active imagination. This isn't imagination. Someone is scaring my daughter, and I think it's you." Bryn stood up, her eyes flashing. "How dare you accuse me of hurting my own child? Then explain why she's terrified. Explain why she flinches when you talk to her. Explain why she thinks I'll abandon her if she tells me the truth. You're being paranoid. Am I? Or are you hiding something you don't want me to know?" Bryn moved toward the door. "I'm not having this conversation. You're seeing problems that don't exist. If that's true, then you won't mind if I take Lainey to see Dr. Martinez for a checkup." Bryn stopped. She doesn't need a doctor. Every kid needs regular checkups. Not right now. She's fine. Then why are you so against it? Because you're looking for problems that aren't there. Cole watched his wife's face, seeing the panic she was trying to hide. "I'm taking her to the doctor tomorrow." "Like hell you are. Try to stop me." Bryn stared at him for a long moment, then left the room. Cole heard her go downstairs, probably to call Rory. He checked his phone and pulled up the camera app. Both cameras were working perfectly, recording everything. Now he just had to wait for Bryn to make her next move. Cole woke up early and checked the camera footage from the night before. At 11:47 p.m., Bryn had gone downstairs and made a phone call in the kitchen. The audio wasn't clear enough to make out words, but her body language was agitated, pacing back and forth while she talked. He saved the video file and got ready for work. At the tea breakfast, Lainey had dark circles under her eyes. She'd barely touched her scrambled eggs when Bryn snapped at her. "Eat your breakfast. Now. I'm not hungry. I don't care. Eat." Cole watched Lainey take a small bite, her hands shaking slightly. Maybe she's getting sick. Kids lose their appetite when they're coming down with something. "She's not sick," Bryn said sharply. "She's just being difficult. I still think we should take her to Dr. Martinez." I said no. Cole finished his coffee and stood up. "Then I'll take her myself this afternoon." "You will not. She's my daughter too, Bryn, and I'm her mother. I know what's best for her." Cole leaned down and kissed Lainey's forehead. "Have a good day at school, kiddo. I'll see you tonight." As he headed for the door, he heard Bryn say something to Lainey in a low voice. Cole couldn't make out the words, but Lainey's response was a whispered, "Yes, ma'am." At work, Cole couldn't concentrate. He kept thinking about the fear in his daughter's eyes, the way she'd asked about keeping bad secrets. He'd seen that look before, on the faces of Iraqi children who'd witnessed things no child should see. Around noon, his phone buzzed with a call from Lainey's school. "Mr. Drayton? This is Mrs. Peterson, the school nurse." Cole's blood went cold. "Is Lainey okay?" "She's in my office right now. She says her stomach hurts, and she seems very upset about something. Can you come pick her up?" "I'll be right there." Cole told his supervisor he had a family emergency and drove to the elementary school. He found Lainey sitting on a cot in the nurse's office, looking small and miserable. "Hey, sweetheart. Not feeling good." She shook her head and reached for him. Cole scooped her up, noting how light she felt. "Has she been eating normally at home?" Mrs. Peterson asked quietly. "Not really. She's been picking at her food for the past week. And sleeping. She seems tired a lot." Mrs. Peterson nodded. "Sometimes when children are stressed or upset about something, it affects their appetite and sleep. Has there been any changes at home recently?" Cole looked at Lainey, who was pressed against his chest. "Some tension between my wife and me. Nothing major. Well, kids are very sensitive to that kind of thing. You might want to have a family discussion about whatever's going on. Help her understand that it's not her fault." "We will. Thanks for calling me." During the drive home, Cole glanced at Lainey in the rearview mirror. "Want to talk about what's bothering you? My tummy really does hurt." "I know it does. But sometimes our tummies hurt when we're worried about something." "Is there anything you're worried about?" Lainey was quiet for a long moment. "Are you and Mom going to get divorced?" The question hit Cole like a punch. "Why would you ask that? You fight a lot. And Mom said, she said you might leave us." "Lainey, look at me." Cole pulled over and turned to face her. "I'm never going to leave you. Even if Mom and I have problems, that doesn't change how much I love you. Do you understand? But what if you have to choose?" "Choose what? Mom or me?" Cole felt something crack inside his chest. "Sweetheart, who told you I might have to choose between you and Mom?" Lainey's eyes filled with tears. "I can't tell you. I promised." Some promises aren't meant to be kept, especially if they're making you scared or sad. But Mom said, what did Mom say? Lainey shook her head frantically. I can't tell you. Cole unbuckled his seatbelt and pulled Lainey into the front seat with him. She collapsed against his chest, sobbing. It's okay, he whispered into her hair. Whatever it is, we're going to figure out together. When they got home, Bryn's car was in the driveway. Cole found her in the kitchen, and her face went white when she saw them. What are you doing here? Why isn't she in school? She got sick. The nurse called me to pick her up. You should have called me first. You weren't answering your phone. Bryn's jaw tightened. Well, she seems fine now. I'll take care of her. Actually, I thought I'd stay home with her today. That's not necessary. I can handle my own daughter. Our daughter. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut. Lainey pressed closer to Cole's side. I want Daddy to stay, she whispered. Bryn's eyes flashed. Go to your room, Lainey. But, now, Cole felt Lainey flinch. It's okay, kiddo. Go ahead. I'll be up in a minute. After Lainey disappeared upstairs, Bryn turned on Cole. What exactly do you think you're doing? Taking care of my sick daughter. She's not sick. She's playing you. She's an 8-year-old child, Bryn. She doesn't play people. You'd be surprised what children are capable of when they want attention. Cole studied his wife's face. What's really going on here? Nothing's going on. You're the one making a big deal out of nothing. Then why are you so upset that I want to spend time with Lainey? Because you're undermining me. She needs to learn that she can't run to Daddy every time she doesn't like something I tell her. And what exactly have you been telling her? Bryn's face went pale. Normal parenting things. Rules, expectations. Like what? Like keeping family business private. Not spreading our personal problems around school. Cole felt pieces clicking into place. What family business? Nothing specific. Just, you know how kids talk. I don't want her telling her teachers that we've been fighting. So you told her to keep secrets. I told her to be discreet. By threatening her with me leaving, Bryn's mouth opened and closed. I never said that. Then why does she think I might choose between her and you? I don't know. Maybe she overheard us fighting and misunderstood. Cole didn't believe her. Every instinct he developed in the army was screaming that Bryn was lying. I'm going to check on Lainey, he said. Cole, wait. He turned back. We need to work together here. She's confused and scared. And if we're not united, it's only going to make things worse. Then help me understand what she's so afraid of. Bryn moved closer, her voice dropping. She's afraid of change, of our marriage falling apart. She's probably been picking up on the tension between us and imagining the worst-case scenario. So this has nothing to do with your late-night visitor? The color drained from Bryn's face. What visitor? The man you've been kissing on our front porch. Bryn's composure cracked completely. I don't know what you're talking about. Tall guy, dark hair, drives a sedan. Name's Rory. She opened her mouth to deny it, then seemed to realize there was no point. You've been spying on me? I've been watching my own house. There's a difference. How long have you known? Long enough. The question is, how long has this been going on? Bryn sank into a kitchen chair, her hands shaking. It's not what you think. Then explain it to me. He's a friend. We met at the gym a few months ago. Friends don't usually make out on married women's porches. It just happened. I was lonely, Cole. You're never here, never present, even when you are here. I needed someone to talk to, so you decided to have an affair. It's not an affair. It's complicated. Cole felt a cold rage building in his chest. Does Lainey know about him? Bryn's silence was answer enough. What did she see? Nothing. Just, she saw us talking one night. Talking. Okay, maybe she saw us kiss. But I explained that sometimes adults hug and kiss as friends. And she believed that. She's 8. She doesn't understand adult relationships. Cole thought about the fear in his daughter's eyes, the way she'd asked about keeping bad secrets. What did you threaten her with to keep her quiet? I didn't threaten her. I just explained that some things are private. By telling her I'd leave if she said anything. I never said that exactly. Then what did you say exactly? Bryn stood up, her defensive walls going back up. I told her that grown-up friendships are complicated and that telling you about Rory would only hurt your feelings and make our marriage problems worse. And that if our marriage fell apart, she might have to choose which parent to live with. Cole's vision went red. You manipulated an 8-year-old child into keeping your affair secret by threatening her with abandonment. That's not how it happened. That's exactly how it happened. You made my daughter believe that telling me the truth would destroy our family. I was trying to protect everyone. You were trying to protect yourself. Cole started toward the stairs, then stopped. This ends now, Bryn. Whatever this thing is with Rory, it ends today. Or what? Or I'll end it for you. Cole went upstairs and found Lainey curled up on her bed, still crying softly. Hey, kiddo. He sat down beside her. We need to talk. She looked up at him with red, swollen eyes. Am I in trouble? No, sweetheart. You're not in trouble. But I need you to know that you can tell me anything, okay? No matter what anyone else has told you. Even if it hurts your feelings, even then. Sometimes the truth hurts, but secrets hurt more. Lainey sat up, wiping her nose with her sleeve. Daddy, there's something I need to tell you. I'm listening. Mom has a friend named Rory, and I saw them. They were kissing. Like grown-ups kiss. Cole pulled her into his arms. Thank you for telling me. That must have been scary to see. Mom said it would make you sad and angry, and that you might leave us. I'm sad and angry, but not at you. And I'm never going to leave you, no matter what happens between Mom and me. Promise? I promise. But Lainey, has Mom or Rory ever hurt you? Have they ever touched you in a way that made you uncomfortable? She shook her head quickly. No. But Mom gets really mad when I ask questions about Rory, and she said I can't tell anyone about him, especially not you. Cole felt his hands clench into fists. From now on, you don't have to keep any secrets for anyone. If something makes you uncomfortable or scared, you tell me right away. Okay, and if anyone at all tells you not to tell me something, you come to me immediately. Deal, deal. Cole tucked Lainey into bed for a nap and went back downstairs. Bryn was pacing the living room, her phone pressed to her ear. I have to go, she said quickly when she saw him, ending the call. Rory, she didn't answer. It's over, Bryn. Whatever you two have been planning, it ends now. Planning? We're not planning anything. It's just we're friends. Friends who discuss life insurance policies. The phone slipped from Bryn's hand, clattering to the floor. You were listening. I was protecting my family. Something you seem to have forgotten how to do. Cole, I can explain. Don't. I've heard enough lies for one day. Cole picked up his truck keys from the counter. I'm going to the store. When I get back, I want Rory's phone number blocked, and I want you to promise me this affair is over. And if I don't, Cole turned to look at his wife, this woman he'd once loved more than his own life. Then I'll make sure you never have the chance to manipulate our daughter again. He left Bryn standing in the living room and drove to the electronics store. If she was planning something involving life insurance and his daughter was caught in the middle, he needed more than just 2 cameras. By the time he returned home, Cole had purchased 4 additional cameras, 2 motion sensors, and a digital recorder small enough to hide in Lainey's backpack. If Bryn thought she could use his daughter as a pawn in whatever game she was playing, she was about to learn just how wrong she was. Cole Drayton had spent 4 years defusing bombs in Iraq. He knew how to handle explosive situations, and he was about to show his wife that threatening his daughter was the biggest mistake she'd ever made. 2 days later, Cole was installing a new automation system at the robotics plant when his phone rang. The caller ID showed Lainey's school. Mr. Drayton, this is Principal Anderson at Westfield Elementary. I need you to come to the school immediately. Cole's blood turned cold. What happened? Lainey collapsed during P class. The paramedics are here, and they're taking her to Sacred Heart Emergency Room. Collapsed? What do you mean collapsed? She was running laps and just fell down. She's conscious but very disoriented. They think she might have been drugged. The tools fell from Cole's hands. Drugged? Who said she was drugged? The paramedic noticed her pupils were dilated and her speech was slurred. They're treating it as a possible poisoning. Cole was already running toward his truck. I'll meet them at the hospital. The drive to Sacred Heart took 12 minutes, the longest 12 minutes of Cole's life. He kept thinking about Lainey's quiet behavior the past few days, the way she'd been picking at her food, the circles under her eyes. Someone had been poisoning his daughter. Cole burst through the emergency room doors and rushed to the reception desk. My daughter, Lainey Drayton, she was just brought in by ambulance. Room 7, the nurse said. Dr. Kim is with her now. Cole found Lainey lying on a hospital bed and 4 in her small arm. She looked pale and fragile under the fluorescent lights. "Daddy." Her voice was thick, like she was talking through cotton. "I'm here, sweetheart." Cole took her free hand, fighting to keep his voice steady. "How do you feel?" "Sleepy. And everything looks funny." Dr. Kim, a slight woman in her 40s, pulled Cole aside. "Mr. Drayton, I'm going to be direct with you. Your daughter has been given a significant amount of sedative medication. Based on the blood work we've done, I'd estimate she ingested it within the last 2 hours." "What kind of sedative?" "Lorazepam. It's a prescription anti-anxiety medication, sometimes called Ativan. Not something an 8-year-old should have access to." Cole's mind raced. "How much?" "Enough to cause the symptoms she's experiencing. Confusion, drowsiness, slurred speech. In a child her size, this dose could have been dangerous if she'd been given more. Could it have been accidental?" Dr. Kim's expression was grim. "Mr. Drayton, this medication has a very bitter taste. A child wouldn't accidentally consume this much unless it was hidden in something." "Like what?" "Juice, milk, anything sweet enough to mask the flavor." Cole thought about breakfast that morning. Bryn had made Lainey's orange juice while he was getting ready for work. She'd been insistent that Lainey drink it all. "Doctor, I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth. Could this have been intentional?" Dr. Kim studied his face. "Are you asking if someone deliberately gave your daughter this medication?" "Yes. Based on the dosage and the method of delivery, I'd say that's a possibility we need to consider. Mr. Drayton, I'm required by law to report suspected child abuse to the authorities." "Do it. I also need to ask, do you or your wife take lorazepam?" "Not me. I don't know about my wife. We'll need to speak with her when she arrives." "She's coming." The school called both parents. 15 minutes later, Bryn rushed into the emergency room. Cole watched her performance through the small window in Lainey's door. Tears, dramatic gestures, demanding to speak to the doctor immediately. When she entered the room, Lainey's reaction was immediate and telling. She pressed closer to Cole, her grip on his hand tightening. "Oh my God, baby, what happened?" Bryn reached for Lainey, but their daughter pulled away. "She's been sedated," Cole said quietly. "Someone gave her lorazepam." Bryn's face went white. "That's impossible. How would you get something like that?" "That's what we're trying to figure out." Dr. Kim returned with a police officer Cole didn't recognize. "Mr. and Mrs. Drayton, this is Detective Luann Briscoe. She needs to ask you some questions." Detective Briscoe was a tall woman with silver hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She looked like someone who'd seen everything and believed very little. "Mrs. Drayton," she began, "do you take prescription medication?" "Some. Nothing major." "Do you take lorazepam?" Bryn hesitated just a fraction too long. "Yes, for anxiety. But I keep it locked in my medicine cabinet." "When did you last check to see if any was missing?" I don't know. I don't count the pills." Detective Briscoe made a note. "Mr. Drayton, do you have access to your wife's medication?" "I didn't even know she was taking it until right now." Briscoe turned back to Bryn. "What did your daughter have for breakfast this morning?" "The usual. Cereal, orange juice, toast." "Who prepared the food?" "I did." "Did anyone else have access to the food or drinks?" "No, just me." Cole watched Bryn's face carefully. She was lying, and he could prove it. "Detective," Cole said, "I'd like to speak with you privately." They stepped into the hallway, leaving Bryn with Lainey and Dr. Kim. "There's something you need to know," Cole said. "My wife has been having an affair with a man named Rory. I overheard them discussing life insurance policies." Detective Briscoe's eyebrows rose. "When was this?" "3 nights ago. My daughter saw them together, and my wife threatened her to keep it secret." "Threatened how?" "Told her that telling me would break up our family and that Lainey might have to choose which parent to live with." "And you believe your wife drugged your daughter?" "I think someone did. And the only person who had access to her food this morning was Bryn." Briscoe nodded. "I'll need you to come to the station tomorrow to give a formal statement. And Mr. Drayton, don't let your daughter out of your sight." "I won't." When they returned to the room, Dr. Kim was explaining to Bryn that Lainey would need to stay overnight for observation. "I'll stay with her," Bryn said immediately. "Actually, I think I should stay," Cole countered. "She needs her mother." "Cole, looked at Lainey, who was staring at her mother with obvious fear. Lainey, who do you want to stay with you tonight? You, Daddy. Bryn's face crumpled. Sweetheart, Mommy wants to take care of you. I want Daddy. That's settled then, Detective Briscoe said. Mr. Drayton will stay with the child tonight. After Bryn left, promising to return in the morning with fresh clothes, Cole sat beside Lainey's bed. She was fighting the sedative, trying to stay awake. Daddy, am I going to be okay? Yes, sweetheart. You're going to be fine. Was I poisoned? The question broke Cole's heart. Someone gave you medicine that made you sick. But the doctors are taking good care of you. Was it Mom? Cole hesitated. He'd promised never to lie to her, but the truth was too much for an 8-year-old to handle. I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. I'm scared. I know you are, but I'm not going to let anyone hurt you ever again. Lainey finally drifted off to sleep around 10 p.m. Cole stayed awake all night, watching over her and thinking about what Detective Briscoe had said. Don't let your daughter out of your sight, that he wouldn't. Not ever again. But first, he was going to make sure whoever had poisoned his little girl paid for what they'd done. And if that someone was his wife, then Bryn was about to learn that threatening Cole Drayton's daughter was the last mistake she'd ever make. The next morning, Bryn arrived at the hospital carrying a small overnight bag and a bouquet of flowers. She'd styled her hair and put on makeup, Cole noticed, like she was preparing for a performance. How is she? Bryn asked, setting the flowers on the bedside table. Better. The doctor says she can go home this afternoon. Lainey was awake, but still groggy, picking at her breakfast tray. When she saw her mother, she stopped eating and watched Bryn warily. Hi, baby. Mommy brought you some fresh clothes. Bryn's voice was bright, artificially cheerful. And I stopped by the bookstore and got you that book you wanted about horses. Thank you, Lainey said quietly to Doctor. Kim appeared in the doorway. Good morning. How's our patient feeling? Much better, Cole answered. When can we take her home? I like to keep her until this afternoon, just to make sure the medication is completely out of her system. But she should be fine to go home around 3. Wonderful, Bryn said. I've already called her school to let them know she won't be back until Monday. Mrs. Drayton, Dr. Kim said, Detective Briscoe would like to speak with you again before Lainey is discharged. Bryn's smile flickered. Of course. Whatever I can do to help. 20 minutes later, Detective Briscoe arrived with a younger officer Cole didn't recognize. She was carrying a small digital recorder. Mrs. Drayton, I'd like to go over yesterday's timeline again. Sometimes people remember details they forgot the first time. Of course. What time did you get up yesterday morning? Around 6:30. I always get up early to make breakfast and get Lainey ready for school. And what did you prepare for breakfast? Cereal Cheerios and orange juice. She also had a piece of toast with strawberry jam. Did you eat the same things? Bryn hesitated. I just had coffee. I'm not much of a breakfast person. What about your husband? He had coffee and toast. He's usually in a hurry to get to work. Cole listened to his wife lie smoothly to a police detective and felt something die inside him. The woman he'd married, the mother of his child, was covering up the fact that she'd poisoned their daughter. Mrs. Drayton, you mentioned that you take lorazepam for anxiety. How long have you been taking it? About 6 months. My doctor prescribed it when I was having trouble sleeping. Do you take it regularly? Only when I need it. Maybe once or twice a week. When did you last take it? Bryn's eyes darted to Cole, then back to the detective. I'm not sure. Maybe 3 days ago. And you keep the medication locked up? In my medicine cabinet, yes. We'd like to examine the bottle, if you don't mind. Of course. Whatever you need. Detective Briscoe made another note. Mrs. Drayton, has your daughter ever shown interest in your medications? Kids sometimes think pills are candy. Never. Lainey knows not to touch medicine, but she might not have known she was taking it if it was mixed into something else. I suppose that's possible, but I can't imagine how that would happen. Cole had heard enough. Detective Briscoe, could I speak with you outside? They stepped into the hallway again, leaving the other officer with Bryn and Lainey. She's lying, Cole said flatly. About what specifically? All of it. She made the orange juice specifically for Lainey yesterday morning. Made a big deal about making sure she drank it all. Can you prove that? Cole pulled out his phone and opened the camera app. I installed security cameras in my house. I have footage of everything that happened yesterday morning. Detective Briscoe's eyes sharpened. Why did you install cameras? Because I suspected something was wrong. My daughter was scared, losing weight, not sleeping. And I knew about the affair. You have footage of your wife preparing your daughter's breakfast. I should. The cameras run continuously. Mr. Drayton, I need to see that footage immediately. It's stored in the cloud. I can access it from here. Cole pulled up the video from yesterday morning. The timestamp showed 7:23 a.m. On screen, Bryn moved around the kitchen, preparing breakfast. She poured orange juice from a carton into a glass, then opened a small pill bottle and shook something into the juice. Son of a bitch, Detective Briscoe breathed. The video showed Bryn stirring the juice with a spoon, then calling for Lainey to come to breakfast. When Lainey said she wasn't hungry, Bryn insisted she drink the juice. This is evidence of attempted murder, Detective Briscoe said. What happens now? Now I arrest your wife. They returned to the hospital room, where Bryn was sitting beside Lainey's bed, stroking her hair. Cole noticed that Lainey was tense under her mother's touch. Mrs. Drayton, Detective Briscoe said, I need you to come with me. Why? I told you everything I know. You're under arrest for child endangerment and administering a harmful substance to a minor. Bryn's face went white. That's ridiculous. I would never hurt my daughter. Ma'am, please stand up and put your hands behind your back. This is a mistake. Cole, tell them this is a mistake. Cole looked at his wife, this woman who'd poisoned their child to what? Get rid of Lainey so she could run away with her boyfriend? Collect on his life insurance? He couldn't even begin to understand the level of selfishness and cruelty it would take. The only mistake, Cole said quietly, was thinking you were capable of being a mother. As Detective Briscoe handcuffed Bryn, she turned to Lainey. Baby, tell them Mommy didn't hurt you. Tell them it was an accident. Lainey pressed closer to Cole, tears streaming down her face. I want my daddy. You're making a huge mistake, Bryn said as they led her away. I'm her mother. I love her. After they were gone, Cole held his daughter while she cried. Dr. Kim quietly closed the door, giving them privacy. Is Mommy in trouble? Lainey asked. Yes, sweetheart. She is. Because she made me sick? Cole's throat felt tight. Because she hurt you. And people who hurt children have to face consequences. Is she coming home? No, kiddo. She's not coming home. Lainey was quiet for a long moment. Are you sad? Cole thought about the question. Was he sad? Or was he relieved that the truth was finally out? I'm sad that Mommy made bad choices, he said finally. But I'm not sad that you're safe now. Will it just be me and you? For now, yes. Is that okay? Lainey nodded against his chest. I like it better when it's just us. Cole closed his eyes and held his daughter tighter. He'd spent 4 years in Iraq protecting strangers from roadside bombs. Now he was going to spend the rest of his life protecting his daughter from the bomb that had been living in their own house. The bomb named Bryn. Cole brought Lainey home from the hospital that afternoon to a house that felt different without Bryn's presence. Cleaner somehow, like a poisonous gas had finally been vented. After settling Lainey on the couch with her books and some soup, Cole went to his laptop and pulled up the security camera footage. He'd only shown Detective Briscoe the breakfast video, but there was much more that he started with the night he'd first seen Rory, scrolling through hours of recordings. The cameras had captured everything. Bryn letting Rory into the house, their conversations in the kitchen, their obvious intimacy, but it was the audio that made Cole's blood run cold. The kids becoming a problem. Rory's voice said clearly through the speakers. I told you, I'm handling it. By drugging her? That's your solution. It's temporary, just until we can figure out what to do long-term. And what exactly is the long-term plan here, Bryn? We stick to what we discussed. The life insurance policy pays out double for accidental death. All we need is the right opportunity. Cole's hands clenched into fists. They weren't just talking about drugging Lainey to keep her quiet. They were planning to kill him. He fast-forwarded through more footage, finding conversation after conversation between Bryn and Rory. They'd been planning this for months. The affair was just the beginning. They wanted Cole dead and had been using Lainey as practice, testing how much sedative they could give her without arousing suspicion. Cole made multiple copies of every relevant video file. He uploaded them to 3 different cloud storage accounts, saved them on 2 USB drives, and sent encrypted copies to an email account Bryn didn't know about If something happened to him, this evidence would ensure Bryn and Rory never touched his daughter again. His phone rang. Detective Briscoe. Mr. Drayton, we searched your house this afternoon. We found the bottle of lorazepam in your wife's medicine cabinet. It's nearly empty. She's been using it regularly. On Lainey, that's what we suspect. We also found some interesting items in her bedroom. A second cell phone, some papers related to life insurance policies, and a notebook with what appears to be a timeline. Cole's stomach dropped. What kind of timeline? Dates and notes about your work schedule, when you'd be out of town, when Lainey would be at school. It looks like they were planning something, Mr. Drayton. Detective, I have more footage you need to see. It shows my wife and this Rory discussing my life insurance policy. How much more footage? Hours. And it gets worse. I'll be right over. An hour later, Detective Briscoe sat in Cole's living room, watching video after video of Bryn and Rory planning Cole's murder. Her expression grew darker with each revelation. This isn't just about the affair, she said finally. They were planning to kill you. I know. Mr. Drayton, I need to ask you something, and I want you to think carefully before you answer. Have you noticed any changes in your own health lately? Feeling tired, dizzy, anything unusual? Cole thought back over the past few weeks. Actually, yes. I've been exhausted, even when I get plenty of sleep. And I've had some stomach issues. What do you eat for breakfast? Usually just coffee and toast. Who makes the coffee? The realization hit Cole like a truck. Bryn does. She always has a pot ready when I get up. We need to test your blood for lorazepam. If she's been drugging you too, even in small doses, it could explain the symptoms. Cole looked toward the living room where Lainey was reading. She was practicing on both of us. It looks that way. Small doses to make you tired and less alert. Larger doses for Lainey to keep her quiet about what she'd seen. And then what? They were going to make my death look like an accident. Based on what I've seen in that notebook, yes. They had several scenarios planned out. A fall at work, a car accident, even something that would look like a heart attack. Cole felt rage building in his chest, but also something else. Relief. For weeks, he'd known something was wrong, but couldn't put his finger on what. Now he knew he wasn't going crazy. His wife really had been trying to kill him. What happens next? We arrest Rory and charge them both with conspiracy to commit murder in addition to the child endangerment charges. Mr. Drayton, you and your daughter are very lucky to be alive. What about bail? With this much evidence? I'll argue that they're both flight risks and a danger to you and Lainey. A judge might deny bail entirely. After Detective Briscoe left, Cole sat with Lainey while she ate dinner. She was picking at her food again, but this time it was just normal kid behavior, not the result of being slowly poisoned. Daddy, are you okay? You look sad. I'm not sad, kiddo. I'm just thinking about Mommy. Cole studied his daughter's face. She deserved honesty, but age-appropriate honesty. Lainey, you know how we talked about people making bad choices? She nodded. Well, Mommy made some very bad choices. And because of those choices, she can't come home anymore. Ever. Not for a very long time. Lainey was quiet for a moment, stirring her soup with her spoon. Daddy, was Mommy trying to hurt me on purpose? The question cut straight through Cole's heart. Yes, sweetheart. She was. What? I don't know. Sometimes people do things that don't make sense to the rest of us. Are you going to try to hurt me? Never. I will never, ever hurt you. Promise? I promise. That night, after Lainey was asleep, Cole walked through the house, seeing it with new eyes. The kitchen where Bryn had prepared poison meals. The living room where she'd planned his murder with her boyfriend. The bedroom where she'd pretended to love him while plotting his death. He went to the guest room and started packing Bryn's clothes into boxes. He wanted every trace of her gone before Lainey woke up. He emptied the dresser drawers. He found more evidence of his wife's deception. Credit card statements showing expensive dinners and hotel charges he'd never heard about. A second driver's license with a different address. A bank account in her name only with over $30,000 in it. She'd been planning to disappear. After he was dead and the insurance money came through, she and Rory were going to start over somewhere else, probably leaving Lainey to fend for herself. Cole carried the boxes to the garage and threw them in the dumpster. Then he went back inside and deadbolted the front door, Tomorrow, he was going to make sure Bryn and Rory never got the chance to hurt anyone else's family. The next morning, Cole called in sick to work and drove to the law offices of Patterson, Williams and Associates. He'd researched family law attorneys online, and Sarah Patterson had the best reputation for handling complex custody cases. Mr. Drayton, Patterson said, reviewing the folder of evidence Cole had brought, "This is one of the most clear-cut cases I've ever seen. What are my chances of getting full custody with this evidence? 100%. Your wife won't just lose custody, she'll likely never see your daughter again except under court supervision. What about criminal charges? Based on what you've shown me, she's looking at multiple felonies. Conspiracy to commit murder, child endangerment, administering harmful substances to a minor. She could be looking at 20 years or more." Cole felt some of the tension in his chest ease. How long will the process take? For emergency custody? I can file the paperwork this afternoon. We'll ask for an immediate hearing given the criminal charges pending against your wife. And then we wait for the criminal trial. If she's convicted, the custody case becomes academic. But even if she somehow beats the criminal charges, the evidence you have is more than enough to terminate her parental rights. Cole signed a retainer agreement and authorized Patterson to file for emergency custody. By 5 p.m., Bryn's parental rights had been temporarily suspended pending a hearing. That evening, Detective Briscoe called with an update. "We arrested Rory Maddox this afternoon. He tried to run when he saw us coming, but he didn't get far." "Did he talk?" "Oh, he talked. Sang like a canary once he realized we had him dead to rights. Apparently, the whole thing was your wife's idea. I'm not surprised. According to Rory, Bryn approached him 6 months ago with the plan. She'd already taken out the life insurance policy and was looking for someone to help her make your death look accidental. And he agreed for a 50-50 split of the insurance money, yes. They were planning to stage your death as a workplace accident, something involving the robotics equipment you work with." Cole thought about all the late nights he'd worked alone in the lab, all the times he could have been sabotaged without anyone knowing. According to Rory, they were planning to make their move next week. They wanted to make sure Lainey was sufficiently drugged that she wouldn't be able to give coherent testimony about anything she might have seen. "What about bail for both of them?" "Denied. The judge agreed they're both flight risks and a danger to you and your daughter." After Detective Briscoe hung up, Cole sat in his kitchen, looking at the spot where Bryn used to make his coffee every morning. For 6 months, she'd been slowly poisoning him and planning his death, and he'd never suspected a thing. But now she was locked up, and Rory was locked up, and Lainey was safe. Cole poured himself a cup of coffee from the pot he'd made himself and raised it in a silent toast. "Game over, Bryn. You lose." While Bryn and Rory sat in jail, Cole began systematically building the case that would keep them there forever. He'd learned patience and attention to detail in the Army, and now he applied those skills to destroying his wife's life with the same precision he'd once used to disarm explosives. First, he sent copies of the video evidence to Lainey's school counselor, Mrs. Chun. "Mr. Drayton," she said when she called him back, "I've contacted Child Protective Services. They'll want to interview Lainey, but based on what you've shown me, there's no question she was being systematically abused. Will CPS take her away from me? Not unless they find evidence that you were involved, which clearly you weren't. In fact, your quick action to protect her will work in your favor." "Good. I want this documented officially. It will be." "And Mr. Drayton? That little girl is lucky to have you as a father." Next, Cole contacted his insurance company to report the attempted fraud. The claims investigator, a sharp woman named Davis, reviewed the evidence and whistled low. "Mr. Drayton, your wife nearly pulled off the perfect murder. If you hadn't caught on when you did, you'd be dead and she'd be collecting $1 million payout. Can you help build the case against her?" "Already started. We're cooperating fully with the district attorney's office. Insurance fraud, this elaborate, carries serious federal charges on top of the state charges she's already facing." Cole also reached out to Dr. Martinez, Lainey's pediatrician, and arranged for a complete physical exam. The blood work confirmed what they already suspected. Lainey had been receiving regular doses of lorazepam for weeks, possibly months. "The good news," Dr. Martinez said, is that there don't appear to be any permanent effects. Children are remarkably resilient. What about psychologically? I'd recommend counseling. She's been through a traumatic experience, and she'll need help processing what happened. Already arranged. We start next week. Every piece of evidence, every medical report, every expert opinion strengthened the case against Bryn and Rory. Cole documented everything meticulously, building a wall of proof that would be impossible to climb over. But he wasn't done yet. Cole spent hours researching Rory Maddox online. He found social media accounts, employment records, even traffic violations. What he discovered painted a picture of a man with a history of targeting vulnerable women for financial gain. Rory had been married twice before. Both marriages ended when the wives discovered he'd been stealing from them. He'd never been charged because the amounts were small and the women just wanted him gone. But this time was different. This time, Cole had evidence of conspiracy to commit murder. Cole compiled everything into a comprehensive file and sent it to both Detective Briscoe and the district attorney's office. He wanted to make sure they had every piece of ammunition they needed. His phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "You destroyed my life. This isn't over." Cole screenshotted the message and forwarded it to Detective Briscoe. Then he blocked the number that if Bryn thought she could intimidate him from jail, she was about to learn otherwise. Detective Briscoe requested a meeting with Cole at the police station. When he arrived, she led him to an interview room where District Attorney Rebecca Santos was waiting. "Mr. Drayton," Santos said, "we wanted to update you on the case and discuss our strategy." "I'm listening." "Based on the evidence you've provided, we're filing first-degree murder conspiracy charges against both defendants. We're also adding insurance fraud, child abuse, and racketeering charges." "Racketeering? Your wife and Mr. Maddox had a pattern of criminal activity spanning several months. The racketeering charge allows us to tie all their crimes together and carry much heavier sentences." Detective Briscoe pulled out a file. "We also executed a search warrant on Rory's apartment. What we found was interesting." She spread photos across the table. Cole saw images of surveillance equipment, floor plans of his house, and detailed notes about his daily routine. "They've been watching you for months," Briscoe explained. "Rory had been tracking your movements, looking for the perfect opportunity to stage an accident." "How are they planning to do it?" Santos answered. "According to Rory's statement, they were going to sabotage one of the robotic arms at your workplace. Make it look like a malfunction that crushed you." Cole felt his blood turn cold. "When?" "This week. They were just waiting for the right moment when you'd be working alone." "Mr. Drayton," Santos continued, "we want to offer your wife a plea deal." "What kind of deal?" 25 years without parole in exchange for her full cooperation in testifying against Rory. Cole's expression hardened. "No deal." "Mr. Drayton, I understand your anger, but a plea deal guarantees she goes to prison for a very long time. And what does Rory get? If your wife testifies against him, probably life without parole. I want them both to get life." Santos and Briscoe exchanged glances. "Mr. Drayton, with the evidence we have, that's possible, but trials are unpredictable. A plea deal removes the uncertainty." "No, I want them to face a jury for what they did to my daughter. I want the world to know what kind of people they are, even if it means they might get lighter sentences." Cole leaned forward. "Detective, you told me this was one of the most clear-cut cases you'd ever seen. So prove it in court." Santos nodded slowly. "All right, we'll proceed to trial. But Mr. Drayton, we'll need your daughter to testify. She's 8 years old." "I know. We'll take every precaution to make it as easy as possible for her. But her testimony about being threatened and drugged is crucial to the case." Cole thought about putting Lainey through the trauma of testifying against her mother. But then he thought about what would happen if Bryn and Rory got light sentences and eventually got out of prison. What precautions? Closed courtroom, video testimony, child psychologist present. "We'll make sure she's protected." "Okay, but I want to be there with her." "Of course." As Cole left the police station, his phone rang. Sarah Patterson, his attorney. "Cole, I just heard from the DA's office. Are you sure you want to go to trial?" "I'm sure. This is going to be hard on Lainey. Harder than living in fear that her mother might get out of prison early." Patterson was quiet for a moment. "You know what? You're right. Let's bury them. That evening, Cole sat with Lainey while she did her homework. She was slowly returning to normal, eating better, sleeping through the night, smiling more often. Daddy, Mrs. Patterson called me today. Cole looked up. She did. She explained about the trial, about how I might have to tell the judge what Mommy did. Are you scared? A little. But Mrs. Patterson said you'd be there with me. I will. And you know what? You're the bravest kid I know. Braver than the kids you met in the army. Cole smiled. Much braver. Daddy, yeah, I'm glad Mommy can't come home anymore. The simple honesty of it broke Cole's heart and healed it at the same time. Me too, kiddo. Me too. 2 weeks later, Cole received a call from Detective Briscoe. We have a problem, she said. Your wife wants to see you. Absolutely not. She's claiming she has information about other potential victims. So she'll only talk to you. Cole felt his jaw clench. It's a trap. Probably. But the DA wants to hear what she has to say, just in case. Then she can talk to the DA. She's refusing. Says it's you or nothing. Cole thought about it. Part of him wanted to see Bryn face to face, to look her in the eye and let her know exactly what he thought of her. But the rational part of his mind, the part trained to spot ambushes, told him to stay away. If I agree to this, I want the conversation recorded and I want my attorney present. Done. 3 days later, Cole sat across from his wife in a small interview room at the county jail. Bryn looked terrible pale, thin, her hair unwashed. The orange jumpsuit made her look older, harder. Hello, Cole. Bryn. How's Lainey? Getting better. No thanks to you. Bryn's eyes filled with tears. I know you hate me, but I need you to understand. Understand what? That you poisoned our daughter? That you planned to murder me? It wasn't supposed to happen like that. Cole's attorney, Patterson, leaned forward. Mrs. Drayton, you said you had information about other victims. I do. But first, I need Cole to know the truth. We know the truth, Cole said. We have video of you planning my death. You don't know why. Money. Insurance fraud. Pretty simple. Bryn shook her head. It wasn't about money. Then what? It was about freedom. Cole stared at his wife. Freedom? I felt trapped, Cole. Trapped in a marriage with a man who barely acknowledged I existed. Trapped with a child I never wanted. The words hit Cole like a physical blow. You never wanted Lainey. I tried to want her. I really did. But every time I looked at her, all I could see was another 20 years of my life disappearing. So you decided to drug her. I just wanted her to be quiet, to stop asking questions, stop needing things from me. And when that wasn't enough, Bryn's voice dropped to a whisper. Rory said there were ways to make it all go away. The marriage, the responsibility, everything. Cole felt sick. By killing me. By starting over. We found others, Cole. Other women trapped in marriages they couldn't escape. We helped them. Patterson sat up straighter. What do you mean, help them? Rory had a system. We'd identify women with abusive or neglectful husbands, women with good life insurance policies. We helped them plan accidents. How many women? 3 over the past year. Detective Briscoe, who'd been silent until now, leaned forward. Names. Jennifer Walsh in Portland. Her husband died in a boating accident last spring. Maria Santos in Seattle. Her husband fell down the stairs in their home. And Catherine Kim in Spokane. Her husband had a heart attack while hiking alone. Cole felt his blood turn cold. You're talking about murder. We helped women escape impossible situations by killing their husbands, by giving them options they didn't have before. Patterson was taking notes frantically. Mrs. Drayton, are you confessing to multiple homicides? I'm confessing to helping women who had nowhere else to turn. Detective Briscoe stood up. This interview is over. Mrs. Drayton, you need to speak with your attorney before you say anything else. I don't want an attorney. I want Cole to understand why I did what I did. Cole stood up, his hands shaking with rage. I understand perfectly. You're a monster who destroys families for money. Cole, please, no. You poisoned our daughter. You planned to murder me. And apparently, you've been doing it to other families too. Bryn reached across the table, but Cole pulled back before she could touch him. I loved you, she said, tears streaming down her face. No, you didn't. You don't know what love is. Cole headed for the door, then stopped and looked back at his wife. Bryn, yes, you're never going to see Lainey again. Not at the trial. Not ever. I'm going to make sure of it. You can't do that. I'm her mother. No. A mother protects her children. You're just the woman who gave birth to her. Cole left Bryn sobbing in the interview room and walked out of the jail into the afternoon sunshine. He felt like he'd been holding his breath for months and could finally exhale. His phone buzzed with a text from the babysitter. Lainey is asking when you'll be home. Cole smiled and typed back, on my way. He was done with Bryn, done with the lies and manipulation and poison. Now he had a daughter to raise and a life to rebuild. And he was going to make damn sure both of them were beautiful. 6 months later, Cole sat in the gallery of Judge Patricia Hendricks' courtroom, watching District Attorney Santos present the case against his wife and her accomplice. The charges were staggering. Conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree, child endangerment, insurance fraud, racketeering, and now 3 additional counts of first-degree murder. The investigation into the other deaths had confirmed Bryn's confessions. Jennifer Walsh, Maria Santos, and Catherine Kim had all been part of Rory's network of desperate housewives. The families of the murdered men filled the other side of the courtroom, their faces masks of grief and rage. Your Honor, Santos said, the evidence will show that the defendants operated a sophisticated murder-for-hire scheme targeting married men with substantial life insurance policies. They preyed on vulnerable women, convincing them that murder was their only escape from unhappy marriages. Bryn's attorney, a public defender named Marcus Thompson who looked overwhelmed by the scope of the case, attempted to paint his client as a victim of Rory's manipulation. My client was a desperate woman trapped in a loveless marriage, coerced by Mr. Maddox into participating in activities she never would have considered on her own. Cole almost laughed. He'd watched hours of video footage showing Bryn enthusiastically planning his death. There was nothing coerced about it. Rory's attorney had taken a different approach, arguing that his client was merely providing a service to women who had exhausted all other options. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, defense attorney Linda Reed said, domestic violence kills thousands of women every year. Sometimes desperate people make desperate choices. But Judge Hendricks shut that down quickly. Counselor, if you're planning to argue justifiable homicide, you'd better have evidence that these women were in immediate physical danger. Marital dissatisfaction is not grounds for murder. The prosecution's case was methodical and devastating. Detective Briscoe testified about the evidence found in Cole's house, the security camera footage, and Bryn's confession to the other murders. In 30 years of police work, she said, I've never seen such a calculated, cold-blooded plan to murder an innocent man and traumatize his child. Dr. Kim testified about Lainey's poisoning, explaining to the jury how dangerous the doses of lorazepam had been for a child her size. If Mr. Drayton hadn't gotten his daughter to the hospital when he did, she could have died, Dr. Kim said. The defendants were essentially using this child as a test subject for their murder plans. The insurance investigator testified about the fraud scheme, showing the jury how Bryn had increased Cole's life insurance policy 6 months before the planned murder, without his knowledge. But the most damning evidence came from Rory himself. After weeks in jail, facing multiple murder charges, he'd finally agreed to testify against Bryn in exchange for life in prison instead of the death penalty. She approached me, Rory said from the witness stand. Said she'd heard I helped women with difficult situations. She had it all planned out when to do it, how to make it look accidental, even how to dispose of the kid afterward. Dispose of the child? Santos asked. Bryn said the kid had seen too much, knew too much. After Cole was dead, she wanted to eliminate the witness. Cole felt his hands clench in a fist. They hadn't just been planning to kill him. They were going to murder Lainey too. What was the specific plan for the child? Make it look like a suicide. Said an 8-year-old couldn't handle losing her father. Took some pills by mistake. Happens all the time. The courtroom erupted. Judge Hendricks had to bang her gavel repeatedly to restore order. And you agreed to this? Rory's voice was barely audible. I thought she was bluffing. I thought when it came down to it, she wouldn't actually hurt her own kid. When did you realize she was serious? When I saw her drugging the kid's juice. That's when I knew Bryn wasn't playing games. The testimony continued for 3 weeks. Expert witnesses explained the effects of long-term lorazepam exposure. Forensic accountants detailed the financial planning that had gone into the insurance fraud. Computer experts testified about the digital evidence found on Rory's devices. Through it all, Bryn sat at the defense table with dead eyes, showing no emotion as the prosecution systematically destroyed any hope of acquittal. The defense tried everything. They argued that Bryn was mentally ill, driven to desperation by an uncaring husband. They claimed Rory had manipulated her into participating against her will. They even suggested that Cole himself was abusive, driving his wife to extreme measures. None of it worked. Cole testified for 6 hours over 2 days, walking the jury through the timeline of discoveries, his growing suspicions, and the night he'd caught Bryn and Rory planning his death. Mr. Drayton, Thompson asked during cross-examination, "Isn't it true that you were emotionally distant from your wife?" "I worked long hours to provide for my family." "That's not what I asked. Were you emotionally distant?" Cole thought about the question. "I suppose I was. I'm not a naturally expressive person. And isn't it true that you ignored your wife's needs for attention and affection?" "I love my wife. I thought she loved me. But you didn't show her that love in ways she could understand. Not well enough to keep her from trying to murder me, apparently." The jury laughed, and Thompson looked frustrated. "Mr. Drayton, do you think your wife's actions were partly the result of your emotional neglect?" Santos objected before Cole could answer. "Your Honor, Mr. Drayton is not on trial here." Sustained. But Cole answered anyway. "Counselor, I may not have been the perfect husband, but I never poisoned anyone. I never planned to murder anyone. And I sure as hell never tried to kill a child." The turning point came when Laney testified via video link from a child-friendly interview room. At 9 years old now, she was articulate and heartbreakingly honest about what her mother had done to her. "She made me drink juice that tasted funny," Laney said, looking directly into the camera. "When I said I didn't want it, she got mad and said I had to drink it all or Daddy would leave us." "How did the juice make you feel?" Santos asked gently. "Sleepy and sick. And scared." "Why were you scared?" "Because Mommy was different when she gave me the juice. She was mean." "Had your mother been mean to you before?" "Sometimes. Especially after I saw her kissing that man." "What happened after you saw her kissing the man?" "She said if I told Daddy, he would leave and never come back. She said it would be my fault if our family broke up." "How did that make you feel?" Laney's lower lip trembled. "I felt like it was my job to keep Mommy's secrets so Daddy wouldn't leave. But the secrets were scary." "What was scary about them?" "Mommy and the man would whisper about Daddy, about how to make him go away forever. I didn't understand what they meant, but it sounded bad." By the time Laney finished testifying, half the jury was wiping their eyes. Even Judge Hendricks looked shaken. The defense's closing arguments were desperate and unconvincing. Thompson painted Bryn as a victim of circumstance, driven to desperation by loneliness and fear. "Ladies and gentlemen, my client made terrible choices, but she made them from a place of pain and desperation, not evil." Rory's attorney argued that his client was merely a supporting player in Bryn's scheme. Mr. Maddox was drawn into this web by a master manipulator who used his own loneliness against him. But Santos's closing argument was devastating. "Members of the jury, the defendants want you to believe this was a crime of passion, a desperate act by troubled people. The evidence shows otherwise. This was a calculated, methodical plan to commit murder for financial gain. They didn't just plan to kill Cole Drayton, they planned to kill his 8-year-old daughter to cover their tracks." Santos pointed to the evidence board covered with photos, timelines, and financial documents. This wasn't desperation. This was a business. They had done it before, and they planned to do again. Cole Drayton and his daughter survived because he was smart enough and brave enough to see through their lies. The defendants had 6 months to change their minds. 6 months to walk away from this plan. Instead, they used that time to poison a child, plan an innocent man's death, and arrange their own financial future. Justice demands that you hold them accountable for every choice they made, every lie they told, and every life they destroyed. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours, guilty on all counts. Judge Hendricks scheduled sentencing for the following month. Cole used that time to prepare his victim impact statement and help Laney write her own letter to the judge. The sentencing hearing drew media attention from across the region. The courtroom was packed with victims' families, reporters, and curious observers that Bryn's family attended her parents and sister, all looking shell-shocked by the revelations of the trial. They'd had no idea what she was capable of. Cole took the stand first. "Your Honor, Bryn Drayton didn't just try to kill me. She systematically destroyed my daughter's sense of safety and trust. She turned our home into a place of fear and confusion for an 8-year-old child." Cole looked directly at Bryn as he spoke. She stared back with hollow eyes. "She poisoned my daughter repeatedly, not just to keep her quiet, but to practice for my murder. She was willing to kill a child to cover up her crimes. I served 4 years in Iraq, defusing bombs and protecting people from violence. I never imagined I'd have to protect my family from my own wife. Laney has nightmares. She's afraid to eat or drink anything unless I prepare it myself. She asks me every day if I'm going to die, if someone is going to take me away from her. The defendant stole my daughter's childhood and nearly stole her life. No sentence could undo that damage, but I hope the court will ensure she never has the opportunity to hurt another family." Laney's letter was read by Santos, since Laney was too young to appear in court for sentencing. "Dear Judge, my name is Laney and I am 9 years old. My mom tried to poison me and kill my dad. I don't understand why she wanted to hurt us. She was supposed to love me and keep me safe, but instead she made me sick and scared. I have bad dreams about her now. I hope she has to stay in jail forever so she can't hurt any other kids. Thank you. Laney Drayton." The families of the other murder victims also gave impact statements, describing the devastation Bryn and Rory's crimes had caused. Jennifer Walsh's daughter spoke about losing her father at age 16. "He was a good man who worked hard for his family. He didn't deserve to die because some woman wanted his money." Maria Santos' son described finding his father's body at the bottom of the stairs. "I've wondered every day for the past year if there was something I could have done to save him. Now I know there wasn't. These people murdered him in cold blood." Catherine Kim's widow spoke about the financial ruin that followed her husband's death. "They didn't just take his life. They took our future, our security, our ability to trust anyone." When it came time for Bryn to speak, she stood slowly and faced the judge. "Your Honor, I know what I did was wrong. I can't explain why I made the choices I made. I love my daughter and my husband, but I lost my way. I accept responsibility for my actions, and I'm prepared to face the consequences." It was a hollow apology, devoid of real emotion or understanding. Cole could see that even Judge Hendricks wasn't impressed that Rory's statement was longer, but equally unconvincing. He blamed his childhood, his failed relationships, his financial problems. Everything except his own choices. Judge Hendricks took a recess before announcing the sentences. When court reconvened, her expression was stern. "Mr. Maddox, you will serve 7 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole for the murders of David Walsh, Carlos Santos, and James Kim, plus the attempted murders of Cole and Laney Drayton, conspiracy charges, and racketeering. You will also serve an additional 25 years for child endangerment and insurance fraud." She turned to Bryn. "Mrs. Drayton, your crimes are particularly heinous because they involved the systematic abuse of your own child. You betrayed the most fundamental trust that exists, the trust between a mother and her child. For the murders of David Walsh, Carlos Santos, and James Kim, you will serve 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. For the attempted murders of your husband and daughter, you will serve an additional life sentence without the possibility of parole. For child endangerment, insurance fraud, and racketeering, you will serve 25 years consecutive to the life sentences. You will serve these sentences in maximum security with no possibility of parole, commutation, or early release." Judge Hendricks paused, looking directly at Bryn. "Mrs. Drayton, in 40 years on the bench, I have never seen such a complete betrayal of maternal duty. You will spend the rest of your life in prison, and that is exactly what justice requires." As the bailiffs led Bryn away in shackles, she turned to look at Cole one last time. He met her eyes without flinching, his expression cold and impassive. She was dead to him. had been since the moment he discovered what she'd done to Lainey. 3 months after the sentencing, Cole stood in the kitchen of their new house, watching Lainey help him make pancakes for breakfast. They'd moved across town to a neighborhood with good schools and neighbors who didn't know their history. Lainey had started therapy with Dr. Emma Russo, a child psychologist who specialized in trauma recovery. The nightmares were less frequent now, and Lainey was beginning to trust again. "Daddy, can I flip this one?" "Go for it, kiddo." Lainey carefully slid the spatula under the pancake and flipped it, grinning when it landed perfectly in the pan. "I'm getting good at this." "You're getting good at lots of things." It was true. Lainey was thriving in her new school, making friends, participating in activities. The shy, fearful child who'd been slowly poisoned by her own mother was disappearing, replaced by a confident, happy 9-year-old. Cole had taken a new job with a smaller robotics company that offered more flexible hours. He was home every evening by 6, present for homework and dinner and bedtime stories. The doorbell rang while they were eating breakfast. Cole looked through the peephole and saw Detective Briscoe standing on the porch. "Morning, Detective. What brings you by?" "Just wanted to check on you both, and to let you know the appeals process is starting." "Appeals?" Bryn's attorney filed notice yesterday. "They're claiming ineffective counsel and prosecutorial misconduct." Cole felt his jaw tighten. "Will it work?" "Not a chance. The evidence was too overwhelming, the conviction too clean. But it means this might drag on for a few more years." "Will we have to testify again?" "Probably not. Appeals are usually based on legal issues, not new evidence." Cole nodded. "Coffee, thanks." They sat at the kitchen table while Lainey finished her breakfast and got ready for school. "How's she doing?" Briscoe asked quietly. "Better. Some days are harder than others, but she's healing." "And you?" Cole thought about the question. "I'm angry. Not at Lainey, not at myself anymore, but at the situation. At the fact that my daughter will grow up knowing her mother tried to kill her. That's normal, is it? Because some days I feel like I should have seen it coming. Should have protected her better." "Cole, you did protect her. You saved her life. Not soon enough. Soon enough that she's sitting here eating pancakes and getting ready for school. That's what matters." After Briscoe left and Lainey was safely at school, Cole drove to the cemetery where his parents were buried. He'd been coming here more often lately, talking to them about Lainey, about the trial, about how to raise a daughter who'd been through so much trauma. "She's going to be okay," he said to his father's headstone. "She's stronger than I thought possible. But I'm scared, Dad. Scared I'll make the wrong choices, scared I'll fail her. Some days I wonder if she'd be better off with a normal family. Parents who weren't in the news, who didn't have this kind of history." A breeze rustled the trees overhead, and Cole smiled slightly. His father had always said that actions mattered more than words, that love was something you did, not something you said. Cole was doing love. Every day, in every choice he made for Lainey's future. His phone buzzed with a text from Lainey's teacher. "Lainey gave an excellent presentation on robotics today. She's very proud that her dad is an engineer." Cole smiled and typed back, "She's my hero too." That evening, after homework and dinner and a movie, Cole tucked Lainey in a bed in her new room. The walls were painted her favorite color purple and covered with drawings she'd made and awards she'd won. "Daddy, yeah, kiddo, do you think Mom thinks about me in prison?" The question always caught Cole off guard. "I don't know, sweetheart. What do you think?" "I think maybe she does, but not in a good way. Not like how you think about me." "How do I think about you?" "Like you're proud of me. Like you're happy I'm your daughter." Cole's throat felt tight. "I'm happy you're my daughter. Every single day. Even when I'm difficult. Especially when you're difficult. That's when I know you're thinking for yourself." Lainey was quiet for a moment. "Daddy, I don't miss her." "That's okay. Is it bad that I don't miss her?" "No, sweetheart. It's normal. She hurt you, and it's normal not to miss people who hurt you." "Do you miss her?" Cole thought about his answer carefully. "I miss the person I thought she was. But that person never really existed. I'm glad it's just us now." "Me too, kiddo." Cole kissed her forehead and turned off the light. As he walked downstairs to clean up the kitchen, he reflected on how different their life was now. Quieter, but more peaceful. Simpler, but more genuine. For the first time in years, Cole felt like he was exactly where he was supposed to be. 6 months later, Cole was working in the garage when Lainey burst through the door, waving an envelope. "Daddy, the mailman brought this." It has your name on it, but it's from the jail. Cole's blood ran cold. He took the envelope and saw Bryn's name in the return address. After everything they'd been through, she was still trying to contact him. What is it? Lainey asked. Nothing important, kiddo. Just some paperwork. But Lainey was smart, and she could read. It's from Mom, isn't it? Cole looked at his daughter's face, seeing a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Yes. Are you going to read it? I don't think so. Why not? Cole knelt down to Lainey's level. Because some people try to stay in your life, even when they don't belong there anymore. Sometimes the healthiest thing to do is just let go. What does that mean? It means we don't owe anyone our attention just because they want it. Even family. Lainey nodded thoughtfully. Can I watch? Watch what? Watch you throw it away. Cole smiled. Actually, I have a better idea. They walked to the backyard fire pit Cole had installed when they moved in. He'd been teaching Lainey about fire safety, about how to build and maintain a safe fire for roasting marshmallows and hot dogs. Want to help me start a fire? Really? Really? They worked together, gathering kindling and small logs. Lainey was getting good at building fires, carefully arranging the wood just like Cole had taught her. When the fire was burning steadily, Cole held up the unopened letter. Ready, ready. Without reading a single word, Cole tossed Bryn's letter into the flames. They watched it curl and blacken, the words disappearing before they could do any damage. How does it feel? Lainey asked. Like freedom, Cole said honestly. Good. I don't want her words in our house. Cole put his arm around his daughter and pulled her close. Smart girl. Daddy, yeah, I love our life now. Me too, kiddo. Me too. They sat by the fire as the sun set, watching the flames dance and feeling the warmth on their faces. Somewhere across the state, Bryn was sitting in a cell, probably wondering if her letter had been read, if her words had found their target. But Cole and Lainey were here, together, safe and whole. They'd built something new from the ashes of the old life, something clean and honest and full of real love. As the fire burned down to embers, Cole made a silent promise to his daughter and to himself. No one would ever threaten their peace again. He'd spent years defusing bombs in Iraq, and now he defused the biggest bomb of all, the one that had been living in his own house that he'd won. Not through violence or revenge, but through patience, intelligence, and an absolute refusal to let evil triumph over good. The fire crackled softly in the gathering darkness, consuming the last traces of Bryn's attempt to intrude on their lives. Cole smiled and tightened his arm around Lainey's shoulders. Some endings, he thought, were really just better beginnings.